that teacher accountability is an absolutely critical part of an overall educational reform. But
a lot of those male legislators had never watched her give a speech, listened to her before, and they were blown away. She was so articulate, so she could answer any question. She was very knowledgeable. She didn't use notes.
Every high school student.
Suddenly, Hillary became a household face as she toured the state in a quest to raise school standards.
That also gave her first real taste for being a candidate. It was the first time she ever really went out, was in the public eye, in the give and take, and she moved from behind the scenes of being a manager, which she'd been in 1980 and 81, to in front of the cameras and being actually the performer.
The problem, of course, is that we would never have had to have teacher testing if the school administrators and school boards had been doing their jobs. If they had told people, I'm sorry, you can't cut it, if they had told colleges of education, quit sending us people who can't write an English sentence and compute two-digit mathematics.
2, 4, 6, hey, we will not participate.
Many teachers were hugely insulted, and they took it out on Hillary. They were quite angry at her for quite some time, and I went to her to a public school gathering about a year after the reforms were enacted, and some of the teachers were actually hissing and booing at her as she walked in, and she held her head high, but I could see the tears in her eyes. I mean, it was very, very painful.
By 1987, Hillary had been in Arkansas for 13 years. Bill Clinton was at last drumming up support to run for president, and Hillary was egging him on. He called a big press conference. Everyone expected him to say he was standing. To their astonishment, he changed his mind.
I need some family time. I need some personal time. My head said go, and my heart said, it isn't right for you now.
But there was more to it than that. The Democratic front-runner Gary Hart had just had to withdraw because of his womanizing. And Clinton's watchdog Betsy Wright told Bill he should learn the lesson.
I felt like he shouldn't run in a year when what had happened to Gary Hart had happened.
You told him that, did you?
Oh, yes, I did.
What Hillary didn't know was that a few days before, Betsy Wright had confronted Bill with a list of women and talked them through one by one.
It was not a paper list. It was just names. It was rumors, because I constantly was the recipient, whether I wanted them or not, of rumors and allegations about him. And some of them were problems. And it was important to me that he face that reality.
Not for the last time, Clinton was economical with the truth when faced with a direct question.
Yes, sir.
Did Betsy Wright want you to run?
I mean, Betsy's position was, this is your decision to make, and whichever decision you make, I'll help. She's probably the only person I know who didn't express an opinion one way or the other.
I have never had a conversation with Hillary about the meeting that he and I had at my house about this. I think she knows about it, I think.
It is very hard to walk away from the encouragement that Bill has received to run.
I had never discussed Bill's infidelities, whether in reality or rumors, with Hillary. And to this day, I carry a lot of guilt about that I didn't, I guess my sense was that I worked for Bill and that I needed to deal with it with him. But she was my friend, and so I never really confronted her with the reality of it, and I think I feel pretty bad about that.
Once again, it was cold turkey in Arkansas, with no hope of moving on. After 8 years as governor, Bill was running out of steam and going nowhere. Hillary thought she should run for governor instead. She asked Dick Morris to test her support among Arkansas voters.
They did not see Hillary as enough of her own person to sanction her candidacy. They thought that if she ran for governor, she would be basically a placeholder for Bill Clinton. She was furious at that. She said, "Don't they know that I reformed the education system? I'm head of the Children's Defense Fund. I'm head of the Legal Services Corporation in the United States. I'm an attorney." And I said, "No, they don't. They just see you as Mrs. Clinton." And at that point, I think she was really shocked that she did not have her own political identity.
So Hillary went back to her day job of pushing Bill. He finally ran for president in 1992. This time, Hillary's political identity did emerge, but not in the way she wanted. Exactly what Betsy Wright had feared came to pass.
Yes, I was Bill Clinton's lover for 12 years. And for the past 2 years, I have lied to the press about our relationship to protect him.
The Clinton campaign faltered, and many wives might have quailed under the media spotlight. Not Hillary. It was the moment she first became a household name across America.
Right before the interview began, a huge light fixture fell within inches of her, and it really could have hurt her very badly. And so she was really shaken up and scared by that. And so the fact that she could carry through and do the steely-eyed wife routine was very impressive, I thought.
You know, I'm not sitting here as some little woman standing by my man like Tammy Wynette. I'm sitting here because I love him, and I respect him, and I honor what he's been through and what we've been through together. And you know, if that's not enough for people, then heck, don't vote for him.
That's not the kind of thing you ever say to a voter, is if you don't like it, lump it. On the other hand, it was a very refreshing thing for her to say.
It was during the primaries that the New York Times first began to delve into the Clintons' financial dealings in Arkansas, in particular a failed property investment called Whitewater. And it challenged the amount of state business which the governor's staff had given his wife's law firm. Hillary let rip.
Because I do not share directly or indirectly in any state business that ever comes to my firm. I don't know what else.
Her husband was a cardboard cutout, even if he was the one running for president.
That is not true. That is not true. And, you know, what is the fact? The facts are that we got into a real estate deal that was not a good deal, and we lost money. And, you know, we will... Did you have the records?
No, we got the records.
We had some of the records, not all of the records.
Did you represent the bank at one time? One of the partners said you did.
My firm has done work for the bank, that's right. And I have done work for the bank not related to the state at all. All right? That is true.
So, Governor, do you think this is the last time that Brown is going to do that?
Oh, for goodness sakes, you can't be a lawyer if you don't represent banks. You know, we represent lots of banks, state banks, federally chartered banks. But
She was on a roll now. A moment of recklessness must have made the politician beside her squirm.
Things like that. You know, I suppose I could have stayed home and baked cookies and had teas, but what I decided to do was to fulfill my profession, which I entered before my husband was in public life.
And that caused an uproar because people said, well, what's wrong with that? There are lots of women who stay home with their kids and bake cookies. That was one of the times where she put her foot in it.
Now watch what we do.
Hillary quickly made amends.
Okay.
And Hillary's going to have a taste.
I sure am.
Look at that, huh? Oh, my word. You're going to have to come back and get the recipe.
Well, I'll get it.
Where's the mister?
Let's see, where is he today? He's in Manchester.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep,
Next, you better make sure we know where he's at.
Yep.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
At last, 18 years after arriving in Arkansas, Hillary was back in Washington. And she felt almost as much elected as Bill did.